Well, hello. I am Joanna Clark with Blissful Baby Sleep Coaching, and I am delighted to be here with Cara Sayer of Snooze Shade. And we are here in honor of, International Women's Month and in honor of WO3 Connect, which is an organization I am involved with. And the whole purpose is to partner, promote, and support women-owned businesses in the month of Arch. And so Cara is an amazing woman-owned business of Snooze Shade. So thank you so much, Cara, for being here.
That's my pleasure.
And I want Cara to tell us how Snooze Shade came to be, and also let's also have you. And I mean, I'm kind of assuming everybody knows Snooze Shade because if you're a mom, you probably want to know what it is. So, Cara, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Snooze Shade and kind of how it all began and why your product is just loved by people all over the world?
Well, I was a mum of a small baby. When I was pregnant, I was in a wheelchair and I had to wait about 9 months before I got out. And when I did, I wanted to walk everywhere. And so in the UK, where I'm based, we do tend to walk around a lot with the stroller. And so I used to get up in the morning, go for a walk, go and pick up some groceries. Then I'd come back lunchtime, walk, and afternoon, etc. And when I was doing this, Holly was born at the end of October in 2007. And so by the time I was up and around, it was kind of like January, February. It was getting quite chilly. And so I used to put blankets over the pram to kind of help her go to sleep and stay asleep or protect her from the elements. And one day, it was quite a bit later. It was sort of probably when she was about 6 or 7 months old. I was sitting with a whole group of friends, and I can visualize it now. And we all had the strollers out. There were about 5 or 6 babies. We'd fed them all, and we were about to eat our own food. And everyone just started putting a blanket, a muslin, a cardigan or something over the pram. It was like trying to sort of put a whole group of birds to sleep in bird cages. Yes. I just thought this is madness. Why can we not have a product that's kind of like a blind in the bedroom that will help the baby sleep when they're out and about? And there must surely be a product like that out there. And so I looked and there wasn't one. And so I came up with the concept, which is Snooze Shade. It helps the baby sleep and it shades them from the high levels of UV. Also stops bugs and all sorts of things. And I started off with one product, which is designed for babies who are about 0 to 6 months. When they're sort of more immobile. And then I have a product that goes for strollers sitting up. I have one for car seats. We have one for pack and plays, which is an absolute godsend if you ever have to share a room with your baby. And I'm developing a new twin side-by-side one this year as well. So yeah, that's Snooze.
Exactly, Snooze Shade. So I just actually put the website in the chat so that if you have not seen or known, but I don't know. I did kind of this the old-fashioned way because I didn't want to have to screen share. But I don't know if you guys can see this. But so this is the one that goes up and over the infant carrier, which is amazing. So you can see, and by the way, it's UV, right? So we're looking.
That one's UPF 50 plus, which is the maximum you can get. And I'm completely obsessed with safety in my products, as I'm a mum first and foremost. So all of my products are actually designed to meet the safety standards for a toy for a newborn baby. Most baby products are designed to be safe enough for a 3-year-old. So mine go that one step further. The infant car seat one is great. You can pull the front down, baby can see out. It's protected from 80% of UV on the front panel and 99% all the way around, which is the highest level of sun protection on the market. And the same with the stroller one Joanna, you're holding up very beautifully, I must say. The Lux, that one blocks 97.5% of UV all around, and that black panel baby can see out of, but that blocks 80% of UV. Because it's actually one of these things is a lot of sunshade manufacturers, they often put the fact that they are UPF 50 or 40 on there, but it's actually like one strip of fabric. And then the rest of it is either no UPF protection or very, very minimal. So I'm very clear. I like to be very clear about what protection my products give. So yeah, it's there's something. I mean, I used them myself with Holly, my daughter, that one, the stroller one you just showed, I used that with her until she was 5 because going to a theme park for a day, going out on holiday, and you want to go out for a meal as a family, and you want the baby to be there, but you don't want to be sat at home, in the hotel room. So yeah, they're really kind of, they're one of those things that once you get one, you're like, wonder how on earth you survive without it.
Yeah, it's absolutely, because I used it too. And it literally was one of those products where I did not go anywhere without it. And I was the one that started with, you know, the baby version, and then, you know, was like, okay, now we're moving on. Okay, now I'm going to get one for the bigger stroller and there. And at the time I was living in Southern California where, you know, absolutely UV is protection is paramount. And like, if we were going to go out and about on a nice walk, I didn't want to have to lube her up from head to toe with, you know, a zinc oriented, because, you know, then they get mad, you know, especially the older they get. So if I could,
and I have to wear too much sun lotion.
so if I could go on a walk knowing that she was going to fall asleep, because I was one of the lucky ones where my child was guaranteed a nap when I was mobile, which was great. I could pop her in here right around nap time, know that I got the UV protection. I could get my exercise, hear the birds sing. She got her fresh air and everything. And then oftentimes once I got her to sleep, I was able to roll that out into the backyard and leave her in the backyard where I could like sit and have my lunch and things like that. And I, again, didn't have to worry about the UV. So I just, this isn't meant to be a product promotion that we're talking about. You know, we're talking about women-owned businesses, but I feel like moms, like when you find a product that makes a difference in your life, it's like, thank you, right? And so I want to.
I was the same with Dr. Brown's bottles. Holly had quite bad like wind and things, and I think I probably single-handedly sold like thousands of bottles to other parents, because they'd be like, oh no, she's not taking, you know, I'm like, get a Dr. Brown's bottle, get a Dr. Brown's bottle. And I think that's the thing. I think once you find products that really work for you, particularly as a parent, it's like really solving a genuine pain.
Yes.
That has an effect on you. So, I mean, you're very lucky if your daughter did naturally sleep when you're out and about. I mean, what's amazing is that my products actually almost, like, even children, babies who don't want to sleep, they kind of give in because we bore them to sleep. And they don't have a choice. So
right, that's true. Yes, exactly. But and again, it's all like, again, Cara, all her products are, you know, it's breathable and, you know, the highest quality, so that when your child is there, you're feeling like, you know, you're getting all the benefits, plus you're not compromising anything else for your child. So yeah, so there's Cara, like, she's like, I see this need, I'm going to develop it. And she's like, has no background in retail, no background in manufacturing.
I had no idea what I was doing.
An idea. And this is kind of one of the reasons why I love doing these interviews, to partner, promote, and support women-owned businesses, is because Cara had an idea, because she had a need herself, and she looked around and saw other women having the same need. And she just got down to business and started solving it. So then kind of tell us a little bit more about that journey. Like, it's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to like bring it into fruition and then to carry it on to other levels. So can you give us kind of the history of that?
Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't have any experience in retail or manufacturing, so I didn't. And this was what, 11 years ago or more, not 12 years ago now. And so there wasn't the sort of wide variety of places you could go online or people you could ask about, like how you invent a product. So I just went back to some contacts that I already had. I worked in the publishing world, found somebody who then, it turned out, she runs a very, very successful business, and I'm still working with her now, but she had four children. And so she totally got the concept of my product and it was a concept at that point. And then we worked together, and she helped me develop the product into a prototype. And then myself and my mother went to a trade show where we basically exhibited this kind of semi-finished prototype. And I'm always a big fan of like just baby steps. You know, don't worry about everything being perfect. Don't sit on a step waiting for perfection, because it will never come. Just do something. And then once you've done something, it creates a momentum and therefore creates movement forwards, which you can then pursue. So we went to this show. I had one of the UK's leading retailers place an order only for 120 units, but it was 120 units. So I then placed an order with my manufacturer, and don't ask me why, for 10,000 units, because I was like, oh, well, you know, this time, as I said, I didn't know what I was doing, but I'd worked out that we had like 750,000 babies born in the UK. And if I sold 7,500, that was like 1%. So surely I had a chance. And if I didn't, then me and my mum were just going to use it as an opportunity to go and do car boot sales every weekend, you know,
right.
And I have it as a hobby. And then obviously it kind of grew a little bit beyond that. And I sold those first 10,000 units in the first year, plus took orders for a lot more. met lots of other amazing female entrepreneurs in the industry. There are so many moms in like the baby product marketplace who are usually so supportive. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I remember I probably tore their ears off asking them, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do I price? How do I do this? How do I do that? And they gave me a lot of my time, which is why I'm always happy to give time back to other moms and other women-run businesses, because I know what it's like when you're starting out. It's scary, it's big, it's intimidating. Yeah, it was a tough few years when I first started. I actually ended up having a full nervous breakdown just after I launched, which was partially due to the extreme success of the business, and partially I'd been through 2 rounds of IVF, which I think probably messed my hormones up somewhat. So, you know, I sort of really understand. And I was a full-time mum to Holly, who by this point, by the time I launched was, well, when I went to the show, she was about 18 months old. So, you know, she was still very young, but I was being a full-time entrepreneur and a full-time mum. And, you know, I think that probably, you know, didn't help.
And a mom trying to conceive a second child.
Yes, which never happened, but, you know, and that was difficult as well. You know, have to kind of, you know, process that.
Thank you for sharing that, Cara. I too struggled with fertility, so I feel like it's one of these things that we can't it's not necessary to keep in the dark. It's not necessary to keep in the dark because so many women understand.
Yeah.
And so for those of you out there that have a dream, the dream might be a business, the dream might be another child. There are women that understand. And that is
my other baby. That's the way I look at it. You see, I've got Holly, who's now a massive 13, nearly as tall as me, which is scary. And then I have Snooze Shade, and they are not equal, I have to be honest. Holly does come first. But in terms of attention and various other things, Snooze Shade has to take the lead sometimes as well. And that's part of the compromise we make being business people.
Right.
Is that, you know, if you want to actually make a successful business, there are always sacrifices that we have to make, unfortunately. So that's often one of them. Is I don't really believe in the fact that we can balance everything perfectly. I think we're always on a constant seesaw, and that, you know, some days we can focus on family, some days we have to focus on business. And it just literally is a case of where we are that day, which way the balance is going.
This is so true. And so on that note,
because I think we women are very bad at beating ourselves up with lots of guilt about trying to be the perfect mum, the perfect business person, you know, and it's just not possible. So don't even go there and don't worry about it, because, and I always say, anyone who is being the perfect businessman, perfect mum, etc., she's either got a nanny or a very supportive husband or an amazing, I mean, my mum was incredible, but I still had a lot to do. So, you know, I don't really think you can do it all like that, not and stay sane.
Right. Exactly. And in fact, the first guest I had in honor of WO3 in the month of March was Lisa Dury, whose whole focus is on women and burnout. And that was, and if you guys go to my Facebook feed and you look out, you know, Lisa Dury, Joanna Clark burnout, you will find that interview. And Lisa's on a mission to help women understand how sneaky burnout is.
Yeah, I mean, I think my breakdown was a form of burnout, and I'm now very good at looking after myself. It took me a few years. It did seriously take me quite a few years to manage it, and to understand and acknowledge that it was going to happen again if I didn't look after myself better. But now I'm very good. I'm like, you know what? Like, I think it was just before Christmas, I was really exhausted, and tiredness is my enemy. And so I just I said to the team, I'm off. I'm on the sofa for a week, and then I actually sat on the sofa for another week.
Good for you. Yeah. And exactly. And we don't give ourselves permission until we hit that bitter pill of complete burnout. And we all, whether we're working or we're not, or we're working mothers or we're entrepreneurs, I mean, it's always a danger, especially during COVID when everything is just much more complex. Yeah. So I will put, you guys, at the end of this interview, I will put Lisa Dury's, the link to that interview in case anyone here is like, oh, I want to go listen to that. And she has a podcast too that talks all about that topic, because it's all important for all women to keep top of mind. So on that note, you know, so here's Cara, you know, building her business year after year. And now what's super exciting about what Cara is doing is not only has she gone from, you know, focusing her product in Europe, because obviously she's coming in from us from London, just outside London, but she grew it into the US market. And she did this through a variety of channels, namely Amazon. And now she's on to a new mission, which I think is so cool, which is kind of part of what, another reason why I wanted her to come today, is it's a business called Make It, Brand It, Sell It. And she is helping other small women entrepreneurs take their big idea and get it out there to be able to support themselves financially. So Cara, can you tell us a little bit more about that side of your new passion?
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically primarily talking to other product businesses, and because I find a lot of people are scared of going on Amazon. They've either had a bad experience in the past, or they're just nervous of like, oh my God, it's all too much, it's too scary, it's too big. But again, going back to baby steps, you know, the reason I started looking at Amazon was out of necessity, because back in 2014, I was getting divorced, and I knew that I was not going to be getting an alimony check every month. And I knew that I had to put food on the table. And so I had to basically make the business make more money, because at the time, although it looked amazing and I had 22 worldwide distributors around the world, and, you know, it all looked fantastic, but actually fundamentally, it's so important to keep an eye on those numbers. And my numbers were not going to be able to like basically keep me in the style to which I not even would like to become accustomed, but, you know, basic level. And I didn't want to go and get a job. So I started looking at ways I could basically improve my profit margin. And it became very clear immediately that that way was going to be in order to sell direct, because the more direct sales I could make, the more money I could make on the products. Because selling to a distributor, I was making peanuts, like literally like $1 something. And so I'd have had to have sold like 100,000 units in order to make $100,000. And that's just not viable. I basically started watching these Facebook ads, and they told me I could sit on a beach, drink cocktails, wear my sunglasses, and just listen to the sound of ka-ching, ka-ching in the background. That's not quite, I think I would do them on advertising standards. That's not how it is at all. But I have also worked out that there are ways of, particularly small businesses who have a story, can really make Amazon a very worthwhile place to be. And I mean, I've grown to the US, Canada, Australia, Singapore, looking at Japan and the UAE. And I would not be able to do that single-handedly without the support of having Amazon's infrastructure there, and the ability to sort of build the brand online as well.
In fact, where could somebody find you to talk about Make It, Brand It, Sell It? Do you have a website?
Yeah, makeitbranditsellit.com, or look on Facebook, and I've got a Facebook page, Make It, Brand It, Sell It, the Facebook page as well.
Okay, so if I'm going to put this in here, www.makeitbranditsellit.com.
I only literally launched it last week.
Did you really?
Well, because I've been doing it for ages, and then everyone keeps going, oh, you must do a website, you must do something, you must do this, you must do that. And I'm like, yeah. And I've been doing one-to-ones for a while, and I just thought, look, I'm going to make it a little bit more formal, and also, you know, make it, for me, it's a bit more fun.
Oh my gosh, Cara, that's so exciting. So that's late breaking news, you guys. Late breaking news. Cara's
and when I launched it last week, I didn't even have an About Me page. It was literally, this is what I mean. Things don't have to be perfect. Just get signed up, because the thing is, once that website was live, I had a real incentive to get that About Us page sorted. And I'm loading products, I'm doing things, I'm in the middle of writing a course on how to trademark a product, and, you know, I'm doing things to fill it up. Whereas if it was just sitting there like empty, an idea that I hadn't actually done anything with, I'd just be sitting ignoring it, which is what I've been doing for about the last 5 years.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, and that's another thing, right? Because Cara and I will often talk about, like, as women entrepreneurs, you know, we have ideas all the time, and we're passionate about what we want to do. So we want to do it all right now. And then if we can't do it all right now, then we have, for me, it's kind of like shame, or kind of like
guilt.
It's guilt. That's a better word.
Great. Women are great at guilt. We're like gifted in guilt.
We're gifted in guilt. Oh my gosh. And so, but the point is, you guys, look, she had this idea 5 years ago. She started doing it one-on-one, kind of and then, you know, now she's ready, right? So I always try to, when I'm feeling that guilt, I always say to myself, like, my timing is perfect, one step at a time. And now my new one's gonna be, because Cara says, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's going to be the third part of my mantra. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just go ahead and get started. So, So Cara, tell me, like, in honor of WO3, and just really, being intentional in the month of March on how to partner, promote, and support other women. Again, like this idea, like you guys, it doesn't have to require monetary, right? You can give them a shout out in social media. You can offer a referral to a friend. You can forward something in their social media feed. You can, write them a testimonial, right? Like if you love, so mine today is kind of like a live testimonial to Cara's products because I use them. And now here I am a gazillion years later with a teenager in the house, and I'm talking to Cara, the woman who started the product when I was the mom that needed it. And now I'm getting to talk to her. I mean, that's just so cool. I mean, talk about 6 degrees of separation. I love that. So Cara, what are you going to do in the month of March, and particularly on March 27th, which is WO3 Day, to be intentional about partnering, promoting, and supporting other women-owned businesses?
Well, I have to say, I'll be honest that I do try and support female businesses all the time, I mean, it is something I get quite a lot of what I call smaller businesses. So for example, on Facebook the other day, there was a really I'm in a group and someone was posting about, and they'd redone like nursery rhymes with classical music and what have you. And I thought, well, that sounds great. And I just messaged her and I said, oh, I've got this company. It's called Snooze, and it's a baby product. So obviously I'd love to just do a shout out for you. And then afterwards, I had all these other people go, oh my God, I had a Snooze shade, I loved it, like this. And I'm like, oh, thank you. That's really lovely. But no, I love seeing other women doing what I did. And so I regularly do try and shout out, particularly smaller businesses. But then also, I think the other thing that's really important, maybe this month, what I'm going to do is I'm going to nurture my women business network as well, because I've got a lot of really good friends of mine, business friends who I've known since I started the business and along the way. And we regularly do things together, but maybe I shall make sure that we definitely do something special this March.
I love that. Okay. And especially in honor of what we talked about earlier in our conversation about burnout, right?
Yes.
So burnout happens when you don't
listen to yourself, actually.
You don't listen to yourself or do the things that bring you joy, right? Yeah. So if Cara now knows, like, hey, these women have been important to me in my life, I love spending personal time with them, I am going to make an effort to gather them so that we can come together, and we're not going to talk about business. We're going to just laugh and talk about life and enjoy, have a beautiful meal or whatever you guys are going to do together. And that is going to infuse you to then go back into the office.
And to book a Zoom call with Gin.
Yeah. Okay. I know.
We're in lockdown still. So sadly, we can't see people physically until probably June, not one-to-one inside. So we might be able to, but we can definitely do a Zoom call with gin and wine.
Okay. And what Cara and I did today is we realized that we both have discovered a new love for red lipstick. So we are both wearing our red lipstick today, and I'm wearing my red in honor of WO3. So Cara, this was such a delight.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm so honored to talk to you. I just can't believe I'm talking to the owner of a product that I loved and adored for many years. So thank you so much.
I'm just completely normal and boring, really.
You guys, look how fun she is. Maybe I'll do a Zoom and have some gin with her. Maybe we'll have some fun. And she's been a wonderful support to sleep coaches all over the world too. So she, obviously she believes in sleep because her product helps promote that. So
I just wish we had baby sleep consultants when I had Holly, because it's really interesting seeing them, the whole industry. I first met my first baby sleep consultant in 2011 when I was in the States. And now we're starting to see in the UK a lot of baby sleep consultants launching. And I'm excited to see it, because I think it's so great to give parents that ability to reach out and speak to someone. Because when I had Holly, the only thing we had were books.
Right.
That was it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was one of the first 50 trained and certified sleep coaches in the US. And so I've been doing this for as long as that's been available, because Kim West is my mentor, and she was the one that had this brilliant idea long ago that families needed more support, and she wanted to be able to create a business opportunity for other women to support other parents. And since I had been a sleepless mom, I understood the need, and Kim West helped me with my daughter. And then when she offered this opportunity, I knew that this is what I wanted to do in my life's work, is to make sure that no other parents, suffered the exhaustion and the self-doubt associated when their child isn't sleeping through the night. So solving sleep problems is my passion, and helping parents really get back their life. That's why this Facebook Live, I often call it Get Back Your Life. Get Back Your Life. It starts with sleep, because literally you don't feel like you have a life anymore when your child's
100%. And that goes for adults as well as babies. So
I know. I know. All right. Well, thank you so much, Cara. It was so great talking to you.
a pleasure. Thank you for having me.